Rambo, come here. Thank you. Thank you. Good boy. Hi, it's Leandra from New Vocations Racehorse Adoption Program's Kentucky facility, and today for our Stable Pass behind the scenes video, I'm going to be introducing you to some of our very new horses here at the training barn. This right here is Madison County. He has a pretty unique feature about him. He was bred in New Zealand, so unlike some of the American breds where we're used to seeing lip tattoos and now microchips, Madison County here has some shoulder branding, so you can maybe see, come on. He's got some numbers here on the side. And then on the other side, he's got some letters. So whereas you might see these brandings and say, well, maybe that's not a thoroughbred, he is in fact a thoroughbred. He's just bred in New Zealand. So he is just at the phase of our transition into our program that new horses will go through, where they're getting turned out in the round pen, which lets us observe them, how they interact with the environment. They can settle in, they can get a sense of their other buddies who are here and get used to the schedule. And that all happens before we start really working them under saddle, and we might start working in some groundwork while they're out here. So Madison County, that'll be one to look out for. It's a very, very sweet gelding. He stands around 16.1. This gray fella out here is a 16.2 hand 2014 gelding. His name is Tap It Through. He just got here very recently. And as you might surmise by his name, his sire is Tappet. So he's got some royal bloodlines, even on that side of things. He's very kind. He's very, very new here. So we haven't yet gotten into the process of really evaluating him. And the reason we won't adopt them out before we kind of have a sense for their personality and their physical ability is that we take a lot of pride in matching horses with the appropriate adopters, which is also why we have one of the more comprehensive application processes and have a team that goes through with a fine-tooth comb over the applications. We want to make sure that these horses go to the best homes possible, and we can only do that when we really know the horse. So while he just got here, we'll make sure that we get to know his personality and his physical ability before we match him with an adopter. He did have an injury to his right hind leg. It's an old fracture that's healed now. So hopefully he will get right into the swing of things with training and be able to do plenty with that still. We see often it is the case. Many of these horses, whether they've had injuries, whether they still have screws in or not, many of them can still go on to have very complete careers after the track. It's just, it might be the reason they stopped on the track, because when they're running at that speed and that intensity, they're pushing their bodies to the absolute maximums. So when you're even doing 2-foot jumps and doing a course, the level of intensity is not going to be the same level as when they are running full tilt and really pushing their bodies to the limit. So that's why, even though it might have been the reason they stopped their career on the track, they'll still be able to go on and do plenty that is appropriate for the majority of our adopters. So then it just becomes a matter of course, making sure that they have the right sort of mindset, disposition, and other qualities that will make them appropriate for one adopter or another. This fine little gray filly over here, her name is Frosted Mistress. Her father, or sire, as you might also be able to guess, is Frosted. And Frosted sire is Tappet. So these two are actually related as well. You can see she's a little bit different color gray. So this is that gray roan kind of border. So she has some reddish brown in her, and that's where we would distinguish them as roan versus gray. But with grays, their color changes over time frequently. So this might also continue to change. She is just 3 years old now, so there's still plenty of time to have some color shifts there. And her barn name that we gave her is Elsa from the movie Frozen, and the last gray who you just saw, Tap It Through, we are calling him Olaf, like the snowman in Frozen. So we have kind of Frozen themed horses here. She stands around 15-3 hands, and she's very kind. She's not a huge fan of flies, but then again, who is? And she's also just getting used to the whole setup here in the environment. So she's adjusting in the round pen, but she's, like I said, she's very sweet, and we're really looking forward to getting to know her. And then once we get to know her a bit more, she will become available down the line, so stay tuned for that. She's not quite ready to go out the door just yet, but she did just come to us being not competitive on the track. So she has no known injuries, and we're hoping that she can progress quickly through our retraining program so that we can make her available to everyone. But we're just really excited to start working with her. So that's just a few of the lovely horses who have just recently come into our program so that you can look forward to a little preview of things to come, you might say. So thank you so much for joining us this week for our Stable Pass behind the scenes video. Keep an eye out for Madison County, Tappet Straight, and Frosted Mistress right here.